environmental protection. We are just holding on shortly to begin the presentation on the Rebuild by Design Hudson River Flood Protection Project that will focus on the tentative closure of Marin Boulevard. We appreciate everybody's patience, and we're just going to begin in about 30 seconds. And we'll kick this off. So again, we are going to be starting shortly for presenting on the tentative Marin Boulevard closure. That is for the construction of the Rebuild by Design Hudson River Flood Protection Project. I want to thank everyone for joining. Please, next slide. My name is Kim McAvoy. I am with New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection. I oversee the Rebuild by Design projects for the department. I just want to go over a few housekeeping rules before we get to the presentation. As you will see, we are on a Zoom call to communicate, meaning to put in a question. You will see a Q&A function at the bottom of the screen in which you can type in a question at any time during this presentation. All questions will be fielded by the moderator at the end of the presentation. This presentation will be recorded and posted for future reference. If you have technical difficulties, you can also type into that Q&A chat function, and assistance will be provided during the presentation. Audio settings can be adjusted through the upward arrow as you see circled in red. Next slide, please. Before I do some introductions, we will be talking about a brief history on the RBD Hudson River project, why we're talking today, talk about the southern work zones and the Marin Boulevard tentative construction, the work itself, traffic, mitigation and strategies, maps, and how to stay communicated and in touch with the project and the project team. But before we go into these specifics, I'd like to, next slide, please. I'd like to introduce Mayor Bala of Hoboken for some remarks, and we appreciate your attendance today, Mayor.
Thank you, Kim. Good evening. I want to thank everyone for joining us today. I also want to start by expressing my appreciation to the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection, really for your unwavering support and for your leadership on this project. So today we're here to learn about the next phase of construction for Rebuild by Design, which, as you may know, is a federally funded, state-led initiative that was born out of the destruction that we saw and the devastation of Hurricane Sandy. So the next phase of this construction, which will lay the foundation of a deployable gate, is on Marin Boulevard to protect Hoboken against storm surge flooding. That measure is one of many layers of protection being implemented, which includes, in addition to the gate, green infrastructure, stormwater detention, and other measures and systems to reduce the city's flood risk. As many of us know, Hurricane Sandy caused widespread flooding in Hoboken, with over 500 million gallons of water inundating our streets, homes, and businesses. And what we're doing in this whole project of Rebuild by Design is trying to make sure that kind of destruction, that kind of horror really never happens again. And we're trying to not just react to past storms, but prepare for the future. Now, preparing for the future, especially with an infrastructure project that's this innovative and this involved, isn't easy, right? So we're all feeling the impacts of that construction right now. And that's resulting in congestion and everyday inconveniences that affect our community today in this moment. I can tell you and assure you that we are trying as hard as possible to mitigate those impacts. And what I ask for is continued patience and understanding. I know it's not easy, and I can say from my own experience, just anecdotally, when Jersey Avenue was closed, that was a time when I was driving, my son to baseball practice in the morning, which is in Jersey City, and it would take a long time to get back and forth to and from Jersey City throughout much of last year. Just simple 10-minute rides would take half an hour, 40 minutes. Sometimes coming back would take a long time. Did I like it? No, I didn't like it. But what I do realize is that this is not just construction being done for the sake of construction. There's a much larger purpose at issue, and that purpose is making sure that we're prepared for the future, that we can mitigate the impacts of climate change, and that we can protect Hoboken from storm surge flooding in the future. That means protecting our streets, our homes, and our businesses. So this project, while it creates extraordinary inconvenience to me, it contains extraordinary inconvenience to you and your families trying to get to and from what's ordinarily a 5 to 10 minute ride through a certain area between Hoboken and Jersey City is going to be much longer during certain times, especially during rush hour. It's going to be very frustrating. It's going to be frustrating for me and for all of us. There is a larger purpose, and I just ask that we exercise patience and knowing that in order for us to be more resilient in the future, we have to go through these short-term pains for these long-term forms of resiliency and mitigation of the impacts of climate change. So I just want to thank the New Jersey DEP for your partnership and for sort of walking us through exactly what this entails. We want to go through this eyes wide open, meaning knowing how long the delay at Marin Boulevard is going to be, meaning how long the construction is going to be, what delays to expect, and how exactly the NJDEP is mitigating or making easier those local adverse impacts as we go through this next phase of construction. So with that, I will leave it to, I believe, Dennis or whoever is next in the queue. Thank you so much for allowing me to say a few words.
Thank you, Mayor Bala. As always, your support and the support of the Hoboken and Jersey City communities is critical to making this job work. I'm Dennis Reineck, Director of Resilience Engineering and Construction here at the DEP. Along with this community, the state and our federal funding partners are committed to completing this important flood reduction project. And this project is going to protect us from future threats of coastal storm surges that were so devastating during Sandy, as Mayor Bala just addressed. This project is leading the way in approaches for building flood infrastructure within an urban area. We're leading the country, but we also know that a flood resilience project like this comes with complex installation challenges, unknown subsurface conditions that we encounter every day, and will create significant traffic inconvenience that I think Mayor Bala put so succinctly. The upcoming street closures are significant, and we appreciate both cities helping us understand the challenges during this construction phase and what's impacting them. I want to recognize and thank our city officials in Hoboken and Jersey City, and Mayor Bala specifically for taking the time tonight for working with us to advance this important project. And I want to thank you all, the community, for attending our public meeting regarding the upcoming Marin Boulevard closure. And with that, I'd like to hand it off to Kim McAvoy and my team.
Thank you, Mayor Bala. Thank you, Director Reinecht. I just want to also identify that we have our partners on the phone to help answer our questions from the city. We have Caleb Stratton, Jennifer Gonzalez, Steve Weber, and for MBI that helped with this traffic plan we have today is Dwayne Nelson, Greg Franchise, Frances, sorry. And we have our New Jersey DEP RBD team to support us, including our construction management firm. So with that, I'd like to jump to the next slide, please. I know everybody's interested in what we're doing and why. So I think most of you are aware this is a flood protection project trying to address and will be addressing combined coastal and rainfall flooding. We are currently building the resist portion of this project. We, along with the city, have implemented delay, store, discharge components also. The delay, store, discharge is intended to address the more frequent rainfall by separating the stormwater and sewer systems to make the city more resilient, while the resist is designed to address coastal flooding. Next slide, please. And as a refresher, this map most of you have seen, and of how water actually has inundated your community, how coastal floodwater is entering your cities. As you see during Superstorm Sandy in the blue, in the northern section of Hoboken and areas of Weehawken, the coastal flooding entered through Cove Park, Harborside Park area into the back of Hoboken, inundating the area from the north, but also from the south. Floodwaters came in through tidal storm surge, through Long Slip Canal, New Jersey Transit assets and property into Jersey City and Hoboken, inundating the back portions of your communities. Really, as you see in the lower diagram, causing an island effect where no one can get out. And that's what we're trying to address. We're trying to make your safer community. And if you want more information of this and the purpose and need, we can provide that later on in the presentation. Next slide, please. I wanted to show you those two slides as a brief reminder on, as Mayor Bala had the inconvenience that you'll be experiencing during the construction timeframe. And I have Chris Corliss here, who will be talking about our southern construction zones and getting into the specifics on the construction in Marin itself. Chris Corliss is part of Lewis Berger Leroy Hill joint venture, and they are a construction management firm overseeing this work. Chris?
Thanks, Kim. So the first slide I just wanted to go over is more of an orientation slide. These images really depict the where the work locations are. So Jersey Avenue, Grove Street, over in the New Jersey Transit Yard and up Washington Street, and Marin Boulevard, which is where we're here to talk about tonight. Next slide, please. Thanks. So what's coming up on Marin Boulevard? So first want to just talk about how the construction plan was developed in two stages, really, with the consideration of safety, efficiency, and long-term durability of the final construction. Currently, the tentative start is the week of July 21st, and the closure is anticipated approximately 4 months. Now, working down along the slides here is a generalistic progression of work. So the first work that will be occurring are some utility work, utility pole relocations and removals associated with PSE&G. The subsurface work, some of the micropiles, sheet piles, the jet grout installations, the wall foundation, as well as the structure. The slab that will go across the road, as well as the rails, new curbing, sidewalks, and roadway paving and pavement markings. Currently, they're looking to do a second closure, which will be much shorter next year. that's when the gates are anticipated to arrive. The gates are currently being fabricated in North Dakota, and they're going to be shipped to Minnesota for final painting and then shipping to the site. So next summer, the gate in the gates in these location, the gate in this location will show up and be installed. Next slide, please. Thanks. So on Marin, it's going to be a full closure, and bicycles, pedestrians, and vehicles, it'll be a full closure for. The construction vehicles will have continued access. Now, in this area, there's a couple other projects that were going on independently of this work. So what the RBD team have done is try to coordinate with these utilities as well as the other projects to try and tie our work within all these projects together to minimize the impact and try and do it under one closure. So as shown on the left-hand side, those red lines, there's a New Jersey Transit long slip fill and rail enhancement project for the train service to operate longer and recover quickly from storm events, which which needs to close Marin as well. In addition, Hoboken Water System Pressure Mitigation Project is being implemented to reduce pressure surges, and this work is looking to happen concurrently to avoid multiple closures. Next slide, please. Thanks. So looked at different alternatives as far as how to could we open one lane of traffic? Could we open roads up at the end of the day? So on the slide on the right, you'll see the yellow highlight is basically the final foundation of the system, of the structure going across Marin. Now, that there will be rails. Think like rails as in like train track, not as in like light rail type tracks that'll go across the road. Those need to be set, and the foundations need to be poured as a monolithic pour, and as well as those rails need to be installed at a very tight tolerance. So need to have the uninterrupted run of track as by the design. Did look at could you reopen the road at the end of each workday? Those foundation widths are quite large, so to steel plate or cover the excavations at the end of the day isn't safe. And then also looked at could you do it with a constricted calendar, say only in the summer, but that would then just increase the overall impacts and project duration. Next slide, please. Thanks. So, like I said, the full closure is about 4 months. We did look at, or there are opportunities for potential schedule compression, and that's where you could get multi-shift crews, night work, weekend work. So there are opportunities to shorten this. However, it's not for all work items. Highlighted some of the areas where you could end up using multi-shifts or night work is items such as excavation or utility work, form work, rebar installation, restoration. There are periods where, for example, concrete is poured. The concrete needs time to set up and cure, but through these opportunities to have extra hours, night work, weekend work, you could save up to 13 days. The extended hours would need approval from Jersey City, and I guess at this point I would like to. I think the next slide goes over to Dwayne. Is that correct?
Yes.
Hi.
Okay.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Dwayne Nelson. I'm with
I
Michael
think we
Baker.
lost the presentation. We get it? Okay, got it back. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay, yeah, I see it. My name is Dwayne Nelson. I'm with Michael Baker International. We are a traffic engineering consultant who has been working with the city of Hoboken over the last few years and worked with them as well on the Jersey Avenue project, which just took place. What you see on your screen here is a map depicting several things. Some of our strategies to help mitigate traffic as best we can. So we see the Marin Boulevard, the closure area underneath the tracks. You see a number of symbols, and I'll run through them for you. The red circles with the red hatch in them are intersections where we have identified timing changes to be made to better handle the flow of traffic underneath the detour conditions. The blue circles represent where there will be either a Hoboken Police Department officer or Jersey City Police Department officer to assist in directing traffic at the intersections immediately around the closure, along Observer Highway, Newark Street, 18th Street, and also an officer at the entrance to 700 Grove. In addition, these green circles represent intersections where we have cameras, which not only provide the team with live views of traffic, but also traffic statistics such as counts. They are integrated with the traffic signal controller, so they're able to provide us feedback with what is the best timing for the time of day. There's also, one other symbol I wanted to point out are these black circles with the letters VMS. That acronym stands for variable message signs. We have installed or going to install shortly up to 4 around the area approaching the closure, alerting motorists of the upcoming closure, and then once it's in place of the detour route, which is represented by these solid black arrows. So if you're coming west on Observer Highway out of Hoboken, you will not be able to make a left onto Marin Boulevard except for local access to the few businesses and NJ Transit that is north of the actual closure. Otherwise, all general public would have to go west to Grove Street and make a left down Grove Street to 18th Street, make a left there, and then a right back onto Marin Boulevard. From the other direction, if you're coming north on Marin, you would make a left on 18th Street, then a right on Grove Street, and then a right on Newark Street back to your original path. Next slide, please. So as I had just mentioned, this is a list, a more written list of what was on that map. So there will be up to 8 officers directing traffic as needed in Hoboken and Jersey City at those critical intersections, as well as that driveway on Grove Street in front of the 700 Grove building. Up to the 6 portable variable message signs will be placed, again, in the immediate vicinity and also approaching it from a distance. I did also mention those cameras, which help us with real-time monitoring of the traffic and provide us with data to be able to revise the timings as we move throughout the project as needed. Additionally, we do have another source of data from a company called Flow Labs, which does provide how many cars are approaching the area from all angles, all approaches, and is able to also help us optimize the flow as best we can with the closure in place. Next slide, please. As I mentioned, there are timing changes which will be placed into effect at up to 13 intersections surrounding the closure. The main brunt of the redirected flow will be felt along 18th Street. Those three intersections, Jersey Avenue, Grove Street, and Marin Boulevard, as well on the Hoboken side at Observer and Marin, which would be closed, but then also at North Street and Grove Street and Monroe Street, where they all come together. That would be another intersection where there would be quite a significant modification to the timing to help manage the flow there. Along with the signal timing, there are physical changes that are planned to be made to help deal with the detour route. There'll be updated signing and striping along 18th Street in Jersey City between Marin Boulevard and Grove Street to include 2 westbound lanes and 1 eastbound lane. Updated striping at those 2 intersections of 18th and Marin and Grove and 18th to help facilitate the detour that will be in place. There will also be a shared use bicycle and pedestrian path along North Street between Grove and Henderson, which is also Marin Boulevard, similar to what you see along Observer Highway east of Marin. Since Marin will be closed and that link between Hoboken and Jersey City will no longer be there, we proposing to restore the sidewalk along North Street and connect to a 2-way bicycle lane along Grove Street between North Street and 18th Street, where bikers can then continue along the pre-existing bike lanes along 18th Street and Marin south of 18th Street. Next slide, please. So what I just described in words, here's a plan of what that looks like. We're looking at Grove Street here towards the right-hand side of this picture. There will continue to be 2 lanes in each direction. 2 lanes at the intersection, let me clarify, at the north end here approaching North Street, and the 2-way bike lane will be on the east side curb, and that will run for the entire length from north to south, from North to 18th Street. You could see then as we're heading south, we'll open up to 2 lanes going south and pick up the 1 lane coming up north, and then it will reverse and open up to 2, as I said, as you approach the intersection. Next slide. This is a continuation south, so now we're looking at Grove Street and the intersection with 18th. So again, 2 lanes approaching that intersection. 18th Street will be restriped to have 2 westbound lanes from Marin, from the closure to Grove, to help handle that traffic that would normally head north on Marin Boulevard. Marin Boulevard at 18th, the 2 lanes will be modified to be 2 double lefts onto 18th. Again, trying to mitigate as much as possible what lanes, what pavement we have out there, make the best use of it. Next slide, please. This is what I was referring to. The existing sidewalk on the south side of North Street between Marin Boulevard and Grove Street, just off the left-hand side of the picture here on the screen, would be paved over. Right now, the sidewalk is wide, but in pretty poor shape. It would be paved over with asphalt and marked out with a 2-way bike lanes and a pedestrian lane on the far right-hand side, or in this picture, but beneath the 2 bike lanes. And that would connect as you head east to the existing facility at Marin Boulevard and Observer Highway. Next slide, please, which I believe is the last. This just shows some of the traffic control. As you approach the intersection, the left turn lane will be blocked off with drums, as traffic will not be able to turn on Marin except for the few vehicles that will need local access to the buildings along along Marin Boulevard. Thank you.
Next slide, please. Hello again. And just to recap, and we're looking at a tentative closure the week of July 21st, with estimated to be 4 months with local access provided to buildings. And we will also have coordination and continued access with New Jersey Transit for their long slip projects, so that they'll have access to complete their construction on Marin. We are looking at another phase, which would be gate installation and testing. That is expected to be less in duration, and looking for summer of 2026. We will regroup with your community on the gate installation schedule when we get closer in 2026, so we can inform you of that need. Next slide, please. And I just want to point out how to stay involved and up to date in the information that we're presenting, not only today, but in the future. We do have our website that you can visit for background information, previous meetings. We do have weekly advisories through our listserv, which can be, you can sign up using one of our QR codes, as you see on the right. And also the City of Hoboken provides construction updates based upon our updates through their link. I would also like to say we have a community construction liaison contact name and phone number and email, that if you have concerns, follow-up questions, you can always contact them through email, through phone. We check that regularly and aim to respond within 24 hours or less. Caleb Stratton has also provided his contact information, being the business administrator and chief resilience officer of Hoboken, if you want to contact Hoboken directly. And Jersey City has also advised us that we can forward information to them to respond as appropriate. So these are all ways to stay connected as we move through this process and answer any concerns or questions. Next slide, please. We will now have the remaining time to answer questions that were dropped into the chat. As you see here, the Q&A function. We'll leave this slide up here just as we go through the Q&A. And I also want to just point out, if we don't have time to answer any questions or numerous questions, then we will follow up after this presentation. I really want to thank everybody for your time, and I'll hand it off to answer questions.
Okay. So hi, everybody. I'm Jennifer Gonzalez from the City of Hoboken. I'll be moderating the Q&A this evening. We have received several questions in the Q&A panel, and just a reminder, please do add your questions to the Q&A panel. We will be grouping the questions because there is a lot of redundancy in specific requests, so we'll just be grouping them all together in terms of responses to provide you all the responses that we can to the questions. And as noted, if there are questions that we need to forward to Jersey City, we will be doing so as well. So we'll start with questions regarding the schedule and work hours. One of the key questions, is there a way to get Jersey Avenue paved where it was before the construction begins on Marin Boulevard? NJDEP?
So, oops. There we go. We will be doing, we're turning back to Jersey Avenue as a later date to complete the work during the previous closure. That is going to be scheduled to do a complete restoration on Jersey Avenue. The contractor is required to maintain the temporary paving currently there, but we are coming back in a couple of months to do more work in Jersey Avenue. So that will be fully restored after that phase. Thank you.
And another general project question, why all construction is occurring in the summer and, largely at the same time? I think it's actually a joint question for NJDEP and the city of Hoboken. So maybe Caleb, would you like to answer here?
The city's engineering and construction teams monitor projects in Southwest Hoboken and throughout Hoboken on a quarterly basis. And one of the things that you see is there is a number of large projects occurring in Southwest Hoboken. Some of them are offsite and some of them are in the right of way. We try to sequence those against project milestone schedules linearly, meaning can we schedule these projects out in a way that they're not overlapping? So part of what you're seeing, the continuous nature of this work, we're going from Jersey Ave to Marin, there's work that needs to occur on Grove. Some of those impacts and some of the work is actually in Jersey City, but it's impacting Hoboken circulation. So we do modeling runs just related to the DEP projects. We track our other projects that are in Hoboken so that we're not having lane closures at the same time. And something that's not obvious is that we actually do not issue permits for construction projects. So, for example, the old Hoboken DPW site, there's a project going on there. They wanted to mobilize a crane in the right of way. That didn't occur during these closures. There was work going on from North Hudson Sewage Authority right next to the firehouse. They completed one section. We did not issue permits for the next section. That would have further impaired circulation in the neighborhood. And then both PSC&G and Veolia, the water service provider, has work to do in the area, which we're not allowing those projects to move forward. One of the things that the mayor asked us to do was to look at what could be delayed and what was necessary to advance. So the work's occurring in the summer, we're pushing for the work to occur in the summer, partially because the schools are out, but also because the NJDEP team is tied to federal funding. We don't want to introduce any uncertainty in our federal funding, nor do we want to push out our schedule milestones for this project, because each season that we go in through hurricane season, when this project's incomplete, the city's defense against storm surge is incomplete. So I think it's correct to point out there's a lot of work that's occurring in the south. We're trying to sequence it, but we do need to accomplish both the foundations and the gate crossings so that we can have continuity in the whole southern alignment. This is also occurring at the north end of town in Hoboken. We actually implemented a road closure today on 15th Street. So there's elements of the project in both the north and south. And part of the reason why you're seeing a lot of work in the south is that we have a lot of work to do before 2027.
I think we're going to jump into a lot of the questions regarding maintenance and protection of traffic. And this is the bulk of the questions that we received today. So I think before we go into general questions, we'll actually start with specific questions related to Zephyr Lofts. We received multiple questions as to how will the access to enter and exit the building be maintained for both vehicles and pedestrians? How will they receive deliveries, have access to their front door? And I think this might best be answered by a combination between NJDEP and MBI. So perhaps maybe Dwayne, you want to take a first answer at this?
Sure. So yes, so Marin Boulevard will have local access only from Observer south to the point of the closure. So those buildings you mentioned are north of the closure, so they will be
Wayne, I'm sorry
yes.
to
Can you
interrupt.
hear
Can
me?
we show, Janessa, can we show the map,
Sure.
traffic map, please? Thank you, Dwayne. Sorry.
No, not a problem. Um, right. So obviously the closure, they will not have access to and from the south, but they will have access to and from the north to Observer Highway on the Hoboken side. There will be an officer there who will be helping direct traffic. So if somebody is making a left there, they can help them make that maneuver. Same thing, vice versa, coming out. The traffic light is still there. So if you're coming out, the light would still, turn green for you if you're coming north on Marin to exit those buildings.
And similar question. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I just want to reiterate that during the construction that local access will be maintained. So that is the intent of the flow you see here, and this map will be provided on our website along with Hoboken's announcements.
In addition, we received several questions related to access for 700 Grove. So how will access be provided to the 700 Grove Street garage? What hours will the officers be provided, be placed in the intersections, specifically near 700 Grove? And noting that they also have no parking for deliveries, so where a delivery vehicle is going to park, with specific suggestions for signage that we will provide to the project team as well. Dwayne, do you want to
Yes.
answer those?
Sure. As far as access to the building, so the driveway there that goes into the garage will remain open today. There is some do not block the box markings, which will be maintained and probably enhanced with signage as well. And lastly, there'll be an officer there. I do not know the exact times. I believe they'll be there, the balance of the day, probably from 7 to 7 at a minimum, who would help assist with keeping that blocked area clear, particularly when somebody's trying to pull in or pull out of that driveway.
Yeah, and I wanted to just add a little bit of color to the ongoing coordination we're doing with Jersey City. In addition to Hoboken Police Department, Hoboken Office of Emergency Management, we're meeting weekly with Jersey City Office of Emergency Management, Jersey City PD, Jersey City's Outside Employment Program, and Port Authority Police. And we have a working group that is going through different issues, and we pull in parties like Jersey City MUA, who had shut down Marin for a long period of time to do critical infrastructure work between the two cities over a many number of months. We will be taking lessons learned from that closure, applying that to both police departments. And as necessary, we will have officers in the street up to 24 hours a day. We are probably going to have more officers in the street for longer periods of time as we implement the shutdown. That working group will revisit staffing, location, duration, As we go through the closure, we'll communicate that to NJDEP. And there's considerable resources on both sides. I can represent what Hoboken's doing, but I know that Jersey City is aware of this. They're concerned about implementation, and they have been feeding into our efforts to develop a plan for this closure.
Question was asked related to parking for residents of 700 Grove. Can free visitor parking be provided for 700 Grove somewhere off-site during this construction? I don't know if NJDEP, you've looked into that.
If there is an SK, oh God,
No, go, Kim.
as Caleb said, we're coordinating with Jersey City directly weekly. If there is a area that can be utilized, that would be a coordination with Jersey City, and that would be a good something we can forward on to them to consider.
Question regarding safety and ensuring safety for residents of 700 Grove and Zephyr Lofts from accidents, specifically recommending speed bumps to lower the speed of traffic. Dwayne, would you like to answer this one?
Sure. Again, well, definitely during rush hours, speeding is not an issue. Unfortunately, it's congestion is the issue during rush hours, but during, non-rush hours, I think the added police presence should help deter people from speeding along those two stretches of roads. I think they would just have to be more active if they haven't been cracking down on that before, but they will be have a physical presence in front of those areas.
I can just add on the city side that we will implement and use whatever traffic calming measures we can. We usually use those in the form of pavement markings, traffic delineators, signage. Speed humps are not something that we typically use on these types of roadways because of their traffic volumes. But I know that Dwayne has looked at the traffic volumes. If appropriate, we would use them, but I do not anticipate using speed humps in these locations because of the volumes, really pushing the volume from Marin over to Jersey Ave and Grove during this period of time. But the idea of using traffic calming measures, absolutely, we can explore, and we'll use whatever is at our disposal to try and improve pedestrian cyclist safety and vehicle safety while we are implementing the closure.
Additional questions for 700 Grove, specifically for where moving trucks will park and also where handicapped visitors will park. And I think the second question, Kim, you answered in that we have to refer some of these questions to Jersey City, but Dwayne, if you have anything else to add on these two items.
I don't. I mean, we're taking, trying to use the full width of the road for roadway capacity. We can, like I said, work with Jersey City and see if we can maybe designate a part of the lane, maybe on the west side of Grove Street, for a loading zone or a short-term parking zone there. If we have the space, I think we shift the striping over, that could be possible.
And I think that's one of the purpose of tonight too. If there's additional measures that we should be taking back, we will.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think this is good to
So
for consideration.
I would like to put this question in DEP's court. I think that we need a response to logistic related questions, and I will talk to our counterparts in Jersey City, but I just want to advocate for the residences in this neighborhood because those day-to-day issues do become something that's both challenging for the residents, but also becomes challenging for Hoboken if we need to coordinate or develop a method to be able to coordinate for those specific requests for moving, because it happens, for handicapped access, for short-term parking for deliveries. Those are things that allow those buildings to function. And
Right.
I think that if we don't have a clear response now, we need to develop one before we implement the closure.
Right, and implementation of that included adding another police officer at this building, specifically too at this location for parking. That also should be utilized, and that person and signage is something we are committed to utilizing to help with that parking, and also loading, unloading, things like that that are very important for functioning on a daily basis. I agree.
Sure. We did receive additional similar questions regarding this topic, so we will group them together, have a further conversation with Jersey City, and report back through DEP. Moving to some more general maintenance protection of traffic questions. A question of whether all the street closures will be added to Google Maps and Waze. The answer is yes.
We'll also have, I believe that through the Port Authority, there will be signage on Turnpike, other state DOT assets indicating when and where the closure will be, similar to what messaging that was put in place for Jersey Ave. So not just Waze, there's additional tools that trucking companies use. We'll make sure that digitally the roads are closed, that in an analog way, we're communicating the closures on message board signing, both before you get to this area and while you're in this area. So the answer to that is yes.
Can you elaborate on the lane configuration for Grove Street? There's a request to turn Grove Street back to 2 lanes.
Sure. So I think we have a pic. If you move 2 or 3 slides forward, there's a picture. So what we're right, this one right here. So if you're looking at, we're looking at a bird's eye view here. So southbound traffic at the intersection will have 1 lane. Northbound will have 2 lanes, and then we have the designated bike lane. And that cross section more or less carries all the way through 700 Grove, and then flip-flops, for lack of a better term, to 2 southbound and 1 northbound. So the entire width of the road is either being used for vehicles or bicycles. Again, working with Hoboken and Jersey City, we thought that was the best way to serve the additional amount of vehicles, and then also the bicyclists that would normally be using Marin Boulevard, which now will be shifting over to Grove Street. At the end of the project, I believe, I don't want to predict the future, but I would see Grove going back to, under normal conditions, to its original cross section, with parking coming back, and just having the additional lane at the intersection itself. But under the detour route, under Jersey Avenue, it's 2 lanes, top to bottom. Under this new Marin closure, we're using a little bit of the road for the bike lane, but still trying to use it for additional vehicle capacity. So, but yes, ultimately, I believe it would be revert back to its original condition.
That actually answers the following question, which is the condition in summer of 2026. Question as to, is there only going to be 1 lane going southbound at the point on where you turn onto Grove Street from Nork Street or Nork Ave?
Repeat the question. Is there going to be only 1?
Is there only going to be 1 lane going southbound at the point where you turn onto Grove off of Newark?
Yes, correct.
And a question as to whether Grove will no longer have parking on the east side due to the bike lane.
Yes, it will not have parking in the bike lane.
There are a few questions regarding traffic cameras. Unclear if it's all regarding traffic cameras or traffic and security cameras, but there were questions as to can we have cameras installed on Grove Street and specifically outside 700 Grove. Right.
Sure, yes, yeah, that's a possibility. You can definitely work with Jersey City on that. The cameras I mentioned as part of the mitigations are more, they're immediately at the intersection and they're not, security cameras. They're more for counting traffic. But sounds like the question is more of something of more of a security measure to see, any incidents and what's actually happening with kind of more of a higher resolution at the driveway. We could definitely make that request to Jersey City and the rest of the team, see if that's something that could be installed there.
Question regarding possibly restricting the access to private bus services like Greyhound through Hoboken or Jersey City during the closure.
I'm not sure if I know
I
how
don't
to
think,
tackle,
yeah,
to tackle that one, but we have not, I do not believe we did that through the first closure.
no.
And I do not believe that we did it through the second closure, but one thing that is different about the Marin closure and Jersey Ave closure is that the bridge heights are different. So we're very conscious of what types of vehicles should and can be using the detoured roadways because of bridge height and elevation, and we try to communicate that via signage. But I do not believe we're restricting private traffic, and I don't know the method that we would go about doing that.
Moving on from traffic concerns, which utility poles on Marin Boulevard are being removed and where are they being relocated to? With a comment noting that lights underneath the NJ Transit Bridge on Marin are out frequently.
It is a single pole relocation that PSE&G will be performing. Unfortunately, I did not bring a map of exactly that location, but service is our understanding that service will not be disrupted. And that is, again, just a single pole relocation.
As regards the purpose of the project for flood mitigation, we did receive one question related to the new flood maps for when the construction is completed. Question is, are we able to see those new flood maps? And additionally, for buildings located in Jersey City, but behind the resist structure, do we know if there will be any discounts through the National Flood Insurance Program? Maybe Caleb, you could take this.
Sure. So the DEP on behalf of the city has submitted a conditional letter of map revision, which would revise both the extent and depth of the floodplain in Hoboken. We expect for that to produce significant savings related to the National Flood Insurance Program, not just the existing premiums, but future offsets of whatever escalation risk rating 2.0 implements within the program. My email address is cstratton@hobokennj.gov. I think that there's a typo on the last slide. There's an extra period, but cstratton@hobokennj.gov, no period between Hoboken and NJ. I can send you the letter of map revision as well as the hydrology and flood risk report the DEP did, which has modeling, shows both those changes in extent and depth. And I'm happy to further engage on that topic. But yes, it will change the floodplain in Hoboken specifically, as well as the Soho neighborhood in Jersey City.
So in addition to what we heard this evening, which were, a tremendous number of questions that we will refer to Jersey City officials regarding traffic and traffic control, we received significant feedback regarding police presence and discussion regarding potentially increasing police presence, increasing enforcement and/or fines. And these are questions that we will certainly take back to Jersey City and come back to this group with further responses. I know we're at 7 o'clock right now, and we had anticipated approximately 1 hour for this meeting. We certainly have plenty of follow-up, and we will continue to work with DEP to ensure that we can provide follow-up to those who participated in this call. Thank you for registering for the call. We can provide you with further information through the methods that are shown on the screen here. And you can anticipate hearing more from the DEP. Kim?
Yes, I would say this is, we appreciate everybody's involvement, comments, and, we are committed to getting answers to some of these that are outstanding that we want to regroup on how we can do traffic better, how we can communicate your needs. So we're going to take back some of this information today and formulate a an answer so everybody who lives in this community has a understanding of what we're committed to doing and what we will be implementing as far as traffic control and direct correspondence. So we really appreciate your input, and please stay informed and with the information provided on the slide, except Caleb Stratton's email, which we will adjust. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Dennis, and the DEP team, as well as all the Hoboken team members on and all the members of the community that phoned in. Appreciate your time, and we'll talk to you all soon. Take care.